Jim Remley here with eRealEstateCoach. I am here with Raegan Grobe of Remax. She's out from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we're excited to have her on the program. Raegan has some unique perspectives, and we always love to talk to agents that are up and coming in the business and that are rocking and rolling and have lots to share. So welcome to the program, Raegan.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit. I always like to kind of get a little bit of a history about you and where you're coming from. What did you do before real estate? Where'd you come from?
Well, that's a good question because I actually have always done real estate. I never did anything but real estate because I started in this industry when I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started out as an assistant to some realtors. And I was pretty good at it with the paperwork and stuff like that. So kind of word got around and I started working for realtors full-time in the summer, part-time during high school. And I was thinking about going to law school, but after shadowing some lawyers and realizing I didn't want to go to school for 8 years to be in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, I thought, you know what, I'm already doing this. Everyone says that I'd be good at it, so why don't I just try it out? So as soon as I turned 18, I took the test to get my license. I passed, and then my second semester of my senior year, I just ended up doing online classes and working full time. So
Wow.
I've never done anything else really.
That's incredible. You got in the business so young. Do you have family in the business?
Nope.
No.
So yeah, I just decided
jumped in.
to do it. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let's talk about growing your business and just kind of what you've been doing to starting young, because we have a lot of people that watch this that are young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I started when I was 19 as well. So I started relatively young, not 15, but 19.
Yeah.
One of the questions I often get was, when you start young, how do you overcome that? Like, people look at you and be like, "Oh, you're too young. Like, this is a big financial investment." How do you deal with that?
So I've always, I'm pretty tall. Like for a girl, I guess. I'm 5'9", and I look a little bit older. That always helped. I always dressed, very professional, a lot older. And so I kind of looked and spoke and just acted a lot older and more mature for my age. So that helped a lot. But there were definitely still some obstacles because, I would have friends whose parents would be, selling their houses or moving, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's so awesome that you got your license. But yeah, we're going to use this person who's twice your age." And instead, right? So
yeah.
I kind of just had to deal with that. And how I kind of got around it was I posted a lot on social media about, the stuff I was showing, the closings I got, just to kind of show those people, hey, I may be young, but I'm still busy. And then I also just had to get basically just leads from strangers. So the Zillow leads or open houses, I would have to just meet strangers and new people that had no idea who I was. And by just looking at me, they could tell I was young, but they, if I sounded like I knew what I was talking about and gave them lots of education and information, they trusted me immediately. So
that's interesting. I had the same experience. It was interesting. My own sphere didn't start using me until 3 or 4 years after I was in the business.
Yes,
because I think you have something called referral resistance, where you have to kind of have proof that you're actually worthy of a referral, right?
Yes,
so,
you do.
Let's talk about lead generation just in the beginning. Like, so you talked about Zillow leads and open houses. Were those borrowed open houses, like you borrow other agents, or your own listings, or what?
Yeah, so I did have 1 or 2 listings my first year. But yeah, I would ask any and every agent that was in my office, hey, do you have a listing that I can do an open house on? And I would try to do one every week, sometimes twice every weekend, and just try to get out there as much as possible. I obviously social media, I've always been posting on because that is something that I've been doing since I was young as well, kind of on the side. But yeah, Zillow leads and everything. If anyone, even if there was an agent who was a little bit more experienced than me and they were just too busy and didn't feel like chasing a $50,000 lead, I chased it. I was hungry.
You ran it down.
So yes, I did. So I took all of the scraps. I did all the open houses nobody wanted to do, even when no one showed up. And I just kept posting and posting.
That's interesting. So like your business today, how is it different than it was maybe when you started? Is it all referrals? Are you still buying leads from Zillow, or what's your business look like? How's it changed?
I am still getting Zillow leads. I am still doing open houses, maybe not as often. I do a lot more social media because, I have my podcast. I have, 6 times the followers that I used to have on Instagram and Facebook and everything. So I'm definitely doing that a lot more. I've also done home buying classes where I teach first time home buyers, what the process is. And so we invite anyone and everyone who is interested in potentially buying a home in the next year. And then we kind of keep in touch with those people throughout the next year or two, to have them as future leads once we've educated them. But yeah, I still have Zillow. I still do open houses, but I would say I do have several referrals. Still no one in my immediate sphere. None of my friends yet, because at my age, they're all still in college. So,
Right.
but I do have clients that I helped my first year that have either referred me out or used me again, or maybe they're investors, so they've bought multiple properties with me or something like that.
Gotcha. So with your home buying seminars, because I just interviewed Dan Lesniak, a $1 billion agent out of Florida recently, out of Washington, D.C. actually, and he was talking about home buying seminars being a really big part of his business now, and he's doing them on Zoom. He used to do them live, of course, but now moving to Zoom. Is that how you're doing them? Are you doing Zoom, and are you attracting them from social media? Is that how you're doing it?
I haven't done them on Zoom yet. I was doing them in person about once every 3 months. And I would just get, food, find a nice place downtown, get a lender and an insurance agent to come in with me, and we just give free food and talk for an hour.
Nice.
So I haven't tried the Zoom meetings yet. That might be something I'm considering, but a lot of people are really tired of Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but I talk on my Instagram stories, on my Facebook stories about, just the different houses or different down payment options or stuff like that all the time. Plus I talk about that stuff on my podcast too.
So that's the whole concept of agents doing podcasts is kind of rising right now. You're seeing a lot of top agents starting to do their own podcast. You started 6 months ago, and you're ahead of the curve, right? But
I guess so.
ahead of a lot of agents, so we'll put it that way. So what inspired you to do that, and what's been the response to that?
Oh boy. Well, honestly, I've had the weirdest, craziest, strangest situations and transactions, and they have been very stressful for me as, a young adult going into this world and trying to manage different personalities and people who are 3 times your age but still can't do their job right. But if I look back on it and everything, and when I told my colleagues and my brokers, and it's just kind of something that you had to laugh about, because it's just like, wow, that truly does not happen to anyone else. And so I was like, oh, well, this stuff is just too good not to talk about. So I thought, I might as well. I talk a lot. I can communicate pretty decently, I think. I like talking and educating people and stuff. So I was like, well, you know what? Why don't I create a podcast where I do some education, but also can entertain with all of these just crazy stories that I have.
Love it. And so your audience, is it buyers, sellers, agents, a mix? What is it?
It's a mix right now. I have people who are interested in buying or selling, and they ask me to go over certain topics like, hey, when is the best time to buy, and what's something I can do to get my house ready to sell, or down payment options, or what about investing? So I do have people who are interested in the future in pursuing some sort of buying or selling of real estate. But I also have a lot of people that are either my age or a little bit older who ask me all the time, hey, what did you do to get your license? I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. I'm thinking about getting into real estate. So I'm like, ew, I got a podcast you can listen to right here. And I go over all of that.
Nice.
Because I believe it or not, I get tons and tons of DMs from people saying, hey, I want to get into real estate as well. Because I think obviously with social media, it's the highlight reel of your life. So people think it kind of looks easy on the outside. So a lot of people have messaged me thinking, oh, well, she started when she was, 15, 18. I can too.
Right. So with the podcast, have you got direct business as a result? I'm curious.
I don't think so yet. However, it's been a way that I've been able to stay in contact with my leads, and that impresses some of them. And so it kind of sets me apart from, all the other agents who are just, blowing up their phone with phone calls or texts. It kind of sets me apart when I say, hey, I just did a podcast over the specific type of loan that I think that you would be interested in. And so then they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know you had a podcast, and I'll go listen to that. Wow, that's actually really impressive or something. So it kind of, I would like to think it has kept me in touch with certain people and set me apart from other agents, and that will lead to business.
It's like I think it's like a credibility builder, you know. And
Yes.
if you're comparing two agents, and one has a podcast, one doesn't, you're going to go with the person
Yes.
that appears to be more credible, right? And that certainly does that for you. That's awesome. In
Yes.
terms
Yeah.
of social media, because you're, you know, the next generation of home buyer is you, right? It's like you're like the perfect example of that. When you're looking at older agents, you know, the average agent is 56 years old, I think. And
Yeah.
you're looking at what they're doing versus what you're doing. What's the biggest contrast? I mean, is it just that they're not on social, or is it what they're posting, or how frequently they're posting, or like what is it exactly?
Oh, completely different. I run my social media pages completely different. So, I mean, if they even have an Instagram or Facebook page, they don't post frequently, and it's always strictly business related. Not very clean or edited pictures, just kind of, you know, the old iPhone, just slap it on there. But, and not that you can't do that. It's just, I like to connect with people and have a authentic relationship with my clients. And a lot of people, at least in my opinion, I think can connect with agents over some personal stuff as well. Sure. So of course I don't go off, you know, ranting about politics or complaining about, you know, someone in traffic or anything like that. But I post a lot of fashion content. I post a lot of travel, or even just like business related, like motivational stuff as well. So when people think of me, they think, oh, she's a motivated entrepreneur that likes fashion and everything too. And she's a realtor and she has a podcast, kind of just like you have a lot of aspects to you. So I get people that will DM me or message me after I've posted about a pretty, you know, room or a house that I show, because I always try to show on my stories when I'm showing houses. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty, that's so cute. Hey, I'm thinking about maybe selling my house into, like, what do you think? Maybe getting coffee sometime. I've had that happen several times. And then also, because I am considered a local influencer, I guess, in the Tulsa area, I've been invited to groups and events and have connected with people that have been potential leads as well. So yeah, so it kind of just allows you to be in this new potential group of networking. And I post almost every day. I post on my stories, I post videos, I have every social media platform. And a lot of older agents do not want to even get Instagram, let alone, you know, like TikTok or something like that. Exactly. Yeah. They can't stand the thought of videos, but I get the most views when I do, you know, videos and Instagram stories and stuff. I interact with my people on there. And even if they don't always turn into leads, anytime a potential lead will look me up, they'll see that. So
it's another touch point. Are you also using YouTube as well?
That is the one area that I haven't posted a ton on. I do have one. The only reason I haven't posted a ton on that is because I can't stand editing videos. So I usually don't have a lot of time to. I can do pictures just fine, and I can do a 30-second TikTok just fine. But I don't have a whole lot of videos on there yet, just because I have to hire it out when I record the videos. So
for this is an interesting question for me, just in general, from a marketing standpoint. Do you find that your buyers and sellers are reflective of your demographic, or do you skew older? Like, I mean, is it a mix?
It's a mix, honestly. Okay. I have had older couples. I have had young first-time home buyers. I've had middle-aged people. I feel like I can relate to a lot of people on a lot of different levels, just no matter what age they are. And I think that's just part of like, because I'm a little bit more mature for my age, I can just kind of relate to some older people on that level. But I also know how to talk to, some younger people, and it's a little bit more easygoing, or we can joke around a little bit too. So I have a mix, honestly. I love working with all types though.
So can we just get into tactical stuff? And there's a lot of other things I want to talk to you about because you have such an interesting biography. But just tactically, when you're posting on all these platforms, so I'm assuming you have like, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, the whole mix here, right?
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Are you posting the same content on all these things every day? Are you doing different content on each platform? Are you using a system like Hootsuite to push it out to everything? How are you managing all this?
So I do different content on each platform in a way. So what I'll do is I have a personal Instagram page and I have my real estate Instagram page, and I shout them out on each other's, if that makes sense, every once in a while, not every day, but every once in a while. So it can kind of intermingle a little bit. But on my personal page, I'll post personal stuff. On my business page, I'll post a cute house that I showed or something, saying, oh my gosh, look at this cute Midtown house. Let me know if you guys are in the area and wanting to look at this sometime soon. But I'll word it differently for like something like LinkedIn maybe, or Pinterest or Twitter, because you can get away with the same thing with Instagram and Facebook since they're connected and stuff, and you can still use the same picture, but you do have to word things a little bit differently, just because Instagram's a little bit more personal and LinkedIn's a lot more professional. So you're going to be marketing to different clientele on each platform. And then Snapchat, it's not the most business like app. So if I ever post stuff on that, it's kind of, either lighthearted or funny, or just, wow, look at this really nice, really cool house. Just kind of things that aren't the typical day-to-day thing that you would just see going out to see houses and stuff.
And this is like a big thing with real estate, is resisting different types of technology, but the older generation certainly is 1000% resistant to TikTok. So, how do you use TikTok with real estate, or do you, or is it just a way to build like a personal relationship with people?
I do, again, have a personal and a real estate account. I like separating them, but then every once in a while posting, like intertwining the accounts by posting a real estate one on my personal one. But I'll either show really cool houses, and I'm like, oh wow, look at this cool house and it's really unique. Put a bling filter on it or whatever, and some trending music, and it actually, people love looking at houses. So those videos get more views than people think. Or I'll make like realtor jokes, like, whatever, just, things about using Quicken loans or something instead of a local lender, just kind of joking around. And those also get quite a bit of views as well. Or even just posting kind of motivational stuff like, hey, here's how I got started so young, and here's how you can too. Or even educational stuff, because TikTok's like, it's a pretty amazing app right now, because the growth and the reach is so organic, but also you can be funny, you can be serious, you can be anything in between, or you can be all, like, you can have anything you want on your account, and just people from all over the world are going to follow you, and millions of people will see it.
So do you cross promote from platform to platform? Obviously Facebook, Instagram are linked, right? But do you shout out from Snapchat to TikTok and TikTok to Snapchat, that kind of thing? Or do you not do that?
I do Instagram and Twitter. I cross promote there. I cross promote on, the same apps and everything. Like on my personal Instagram, I'll say, go follow my business page every once in a while. And I haven't done it on, Snapchat yet or anything. That's probably a good idea. I should probably do that though. So that gives me another idea just now. So I do sometimes, but not super often.
And let's talk about audience growth just for a second. Is this all organic audience growth? I mean, it just grows naturally, or are you fueling it somehow, or?
So Facebook and TikTok are, to me, some of the most organic growth. Instagram, it's very business-like, how to gain followers nowadays. You have to join giveaways, or you have to engage on strangers' pictures for 20 hours at a time to maybe get a follow back or something. So it's a lot harder nowadays to get followers on Instagram. It's not impossible or anything, for sure. If you're consistent and you engage and you get on there, people will follow you if you produce good content. However, different platforms definitely allow for more organic reaches.
Gotcha. So let's switch gears, because I know that you have a passion around like the mental health side of this business,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a stressful, emotional roller coaster of a business. And I always say, if you can do real estate, you can do anything successfully.
Yeah.
Because this is a tough industry. People, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. On the outside, it looks so easy. We just drive nice
Yes.
cars, drive nice clothes. We make a lot of money. We go on great vacations. But inside, it's not so much.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how do you, first of all, how do you manage it yourself, and what do you encourage people to do?
So, I do go to therapy every now and then. I do go to counseling. I have to talk it out. I
Mhm.
have to let it out somehow, because you can't yell at your clients. You can't,
Right.
you can't, cuss them out if you're feeling like it. You can't say, no, you're wrong, and that's a stupid idea or something, or just listen to me. Of course, you have to educate your clients and give them the best advice, with keeping in mind the client's always right. So you have to balance
Right.
that a little bit. And that can be very hard, especially when you're dealing with very intense personalities. So I think it's good and healthy to see a counselor, a therapist, or even if you can't afford to pay one, just having like a friend or a family member or someone that you can rely on and just vent to,
Mm,
like once a week, or, a few times a month, or if it's every day, if it's
mm,
your spouse or something like that. Because if you just hold it all in, it gets overwhelming.
yeah.
You can't deal with it alone. I tried to do that for a long time. I tried to just think, oh, well, all my friends are in college, so they don't understand. Everyone I work with is twice my age, so they won't really understand. So I don't really have anyone, so I'll just deal with it on my own. And with that mentality, I isolated myself and closed myself off to a lot of people who, even though they're not going through the same thing you're going through, they still care and they can still listen.
Yeah.
So I think, for a little while, I had a chip on my shoulder thinking, oh, I'm different than other people, which is good, but no one understands me because no one's doing what I'm doing. But after a while, I realized, you know what? No, there's actually people out there who are doing things similar to me. Maybe it's not the same exact life story, but they understand different aspects of what I'm going through. And I think it's also healthy just to hang out with other agents as well, and just kind of vent with them as
Mhm.
well, because
Yeah.
they will understand. They don't have the same clients as you. They don't have the
Right.
same transactions as you, but they know what it's like to be
Mhm.
super frustrated or to lose their commission at the last day. They've been through a lot of scenarios like that. So I think after I just started reaching out and opening up to people, that's when it just got a lot easier, because the situations didn't go away. The
Right.
stressful transactions never go away. There's always something new coming up. However, you can deal with it and manage it a lot better whenever you have that support system around you.
So that's really interesting when you talk about networking with agents. And do you do that inside and outside your office, or just people in your office?
I'm pretty good friends with several people in my office. They're, 10, 12, 20 years older than me, some of them, but we just get along so well, and we have deep talks about anything and everything. So I definitely have some deep, good connections with people in my office, but I also hang out with people outside too.
Mhm.
Of course, there's always that bit of competition and rivalry and everything, but it's also kind of nice whenever you do a transaction with a another agent from a different company, and it was just super smooth and easy, and you guys are just both kind of laid back because you know what the heck you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And those agents make pretty good friends, and it's always nice seeing them at networking events or something. And you just know next time you have a client that wants to buy one of their houses or vice versa, it's going to be a smooth deal. So
Now, I caught you before you go into the gym, right? So you
yeah.
said that. So how much does exercise play a role in like mental health for you?
Oh my gosh. Huge. During this quarantine corona stuff, when the gyms closed down, I almost went insane. And it's funny because before that, I didn't, I had a gym membership. I went, every once in a while, but I really did not make it a priority. But, obviously the quarantine 15 weight definitely caught up with me. And it just, if you have to just move like 30 minutes a day, you have to exercise, you have to get out some of that tension, some of that anger, some of that stress. It definitely, especially if you do it in the morning, that's when I prefer to do it. Today I'm a little late because I had some stuff to do this morning, but it makes you feel so much better about yourself. And even if you don't do anything else that day that's productive, maybe you're having a really bad day and you don't make any calls and your appointments get canceled or something, and you don't do anything real estate related that day, you've still had a semi-productive day because you've got up and you've worked out and you've worked on your health mentally and physically. So I try to go to the gym at least 5 times a week now. After the quarantine and the corona thing, I decided I'm never going to take advantage of going to the gym again because I'm always going to make it a priority to go because it does help you so much. And it just makes you make better choices throughout the day as well. Because I know a lot of realtors always on the go, always driving around. So the fast food diet is a thing. So it really helps you just kind of make better choices because you're like, well, I would ruin my entire workout if I ate that, or, I can probably find a healthier option. And it also just like allows you to be more comfortable with walking around a lot more. Cause I know for me, busy days during the summer, I'm driving 30 minutes here, showing 5 houses, 30 minutes to the next place, showing 5 houses. There's a lot of in and out, running around, walking around.
Yeah.
So you do kind of have to be, of course you don't have to be like, super, super in shape or anything, but it does definitely help because there are some realtors who just kind of sit at the desk and everything, and that's definitely not a healthy lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, it's a naturally sedentary business because you're sitting at your desk or you're sitting in the car, and then you could literally have like 1,000 steps a day if you're not careful. So
oh yeah,
you definitely have to make a conscious effort to get up and walk and move around. I'm curious though, because there's definitely a relationship I think between health and energy. Right. And if you're not healthy or don't have as much energy, and this is a high stamina business, you have to be really high level to do high level production. How much do you do any kind of like meditation, deep breathing kind of stuff too, or is that just kind of your exercise part of it?
I have been meaning to get into that. Believe it or not, I have read and seen so many videos on that stuff. So I am trying to get into maybe not meditation as much as maybe more like affirmations and everything in the morning, just to have that positive mindset and to go in any situation with a level of confidence, because people can just feel that and see it and off of you whenever you're just radiating confidence. And it just helps deals, and clients get just so much more attracted to you. So I should probably try the meditation. My brain doesn't shut off at all, ever. So it's a little hard for me to sit there and be quiet and not think about anything for even 30 seconds. But that's definitely something I do want to get into. Obviously, I don't know if the listeners and everyone out there are religious at all, but if anything, I pray a lot for sure over my transactions and clients. And if I'm just in a situation where I am just out of control, which I hate being out of control, but that happens all the time in real estate, I just have to kind of sit there and pray. So that's kind of my form of meditation.
Well, there's different, everybody has different faiths and different beliefs, but I think prayer
Mm-hmm.
can come into it from a lot of different angles, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's it's a really huge part of how a lot of people get through a lot of things, especially in
Yeah.
stressful real estate.
Oh, yes.
Couple questions I have for you too, because let's talk about branding a little bit. How big
Mm-hmm.
are you focused on your brand? Do you have a personal brand? How do you manage that?
I have a bunch of different, since I have so many different social media platforms, they're all kind of, different things. Like my brand right now is the Tulsa Living Group. So, I created that because I wanted to also promote the Tulsa lifestyle,
Right.
along with, the cute houses and the real estate aspect. So, on my pages, I don't always just post when I have a closing or when I do showings. I post, oh, hey, like this is a really nice restaurant you need to try
Mm,
out here.
yeah.
This is, this store is having a good sale. And I mean, I need to do that on my personal account because if I'm posting about fashion, I'm like, hey, go hit up this local, place because there's, sales on dresses and stuff like that. So, that's what I would say my personal brand is. I kind of like to think of my brand as just being kind of a different person, kind of just like an anomaly, because people that know me and have listened to my podcast or have, looked at my social media for a good amount of time, they know that I started so young and that I'm doing so many different things, and that's just kind of different. So I
Got
kind
it.
of pride myself on just being a little bit different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you are the brand. And I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the smartest brand that we can have, because we're a personal services industry and truly we
Mm-hmm.
are the brand to a large degree. What about like referrals, recommendations, testimonials? Do those play a big part in your business?
Oh yeah, yeah. I always ask clients for reviews on the Zillow, on Google, on Facebook, and they do leave good reviews and everything. And then, like I said, I haven't had a huge referral system yet, just because I need to, have a few more years and have my friends who are still in college graduate and have to start their
Right.
lives. But they do, the people that have left good reviews and that we really had a good connection with, they have either used me again for another investment property or another purpose or something, or they've referred me out to their friends as well, which always feels great. And I the people that I've really connected with and that I truly care about and want to see how they're doing, I check up on them and I send them handwritten letters. Sometimes I'll do drop by gifts and stuff like that. So I do try to keep that referral system going, or at least build one for the future.
Got it. Do you use like CRM tech in your business? Are you using Top Producer or anything like that? Or are you just doing it all on your phone? And how are you managing people?
I've tried out a few different ones. Right now I have something called Boomtown
Mhm.
that I'm using a little bit. I don't use it as much. Honestly, because I get some Zillow leads, the app kind of reminds me, hey, you haven't reached out to this one in a while, you haven't reached out to that one in a while, so I kind of do that. But I also just, every week, I kind of just make my rounds. I just, if they're not actively looking and I haven't, talked to them in a week or a month or so, say, hey, how you doing? Just checking in on you. Do you have any questions? Do you want to see anything? And I just kind of go through my contact list and
Mhm.
look at my emails and think, okay, who have I not heard from in a while? Who could I reach out to? And I just kind of do that. So I kind of, since my brain is so high, just going at 110 miles per hour at all times, it
Yeah.
doesn't let me forget about those people usually. Oh, there
Mhm.
has been times, don't get me wrong, there has been times where I have dropped the ball and I didn't reach out to someone and they bought with someone else, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Right.
Yeah,
It's the
completely
worst.
sucks. Yes. But because of that, I also feel like my brain doesn't let me forget about those people either. So I haven't found a great CRM system that I think just like is truly worth paying for
Yeah.
all around. So again, with my kind of control freak personality, I like to kind of do a lot of it myself. But eventually, once I get bigger, I would love to have, a team or some people under me that could help out with that and do some as well.
Let me ask you, just in terms of like working with buyers and sellers really quick. Do you have
Yeah.
when you're working with a buyer or seller, do you have a process you're pushing them through, like maybe let's call it a buyer presentation, a listing presentation, or is it more organic and just kind of conversation free flowing?
I definitely always, especially with the first time home buyers, I always tell them, you know, what the process is and everything. Cause it's typically the same for, you know, every person who's getting a loan and stuff like that. Same with the listing. However, like I said before, I kind of relate to the different people on different levels in different ways. So, you know, each person needs a different thing. Each person needs different advice. Each person has a different situation. So even though I do go over the basic buying and listing presentation with them, I always cater to what their specific situation is, what their needs are, and what their personality is.
So you have one and then you personalize it to them.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So you're obviously looked up to by a lot of younger agents in the industry. What's your like best advice to somebody that's, you know, 18, 19, getting in this business, and they say, okay, Raegan, you've been super successful. Like what's your guidance for them? What do you suggest?
I would suggest, you know, save your money, live at home still for a while.
Yeah, smart.
Don't be spending, you know, your commission checks on stupid stuff, and make sure that you have enough saved up to where you can actually invest in yourself, because it won't come right away.
Right.
I do remember when I first started, it was about 3 to 4 months before I really got my first contract. And I was just thinking that entire time, what am I doing wrong? What's going on? I'm doing all the right things. Honestly, what you do today is going to be what your paycheck looks like 3 to 4 months from now.
Great advice. Yep.
Yeah. So it really takes that long.
Yeah.
So if you take a few weeks off, that's fine. You're your own boss. You create your own schedule, but just know you better have enough saved up, because in a few months from now, you might not have as many impending as you'd like. So you really, even though you are your own boss, you do create your own schedule, you do have to prioritize lead generation, and you do have to work every day pretty much. A lot of people always are like, oh, you know, how come you have to work? It's a Saturday or it's a Friday night or whatever. I'm just like, that's when the client can, you know, that's when they called. You kind of have to be on call. So you have to get comfortable with that. However, that all being said, you do need to schedule time with your friends, with your family, with your significant others, and for your mental health and self-preservation. I struggled a lot with that in the beginning. I overworked myself to where I almost got burnt out. And because I was literally working as an assistant from 9 to 5 and on weekends, sometimes more than that, like sometimes overtime.
Wow.
Plus online classes, plus getting my own clients and try to fit them in my schedule to try to show them. So even though, you know, I was saving money, making money, you know, doing all that great stuff, I definitely never spent time with, you know, my friends there for a while. I never, you know, just had a night to myself. I was definitely overworking myself. And then you just get burnt out. So you don't want to let yourself get to that phase. You always want to make sure, you know, yes, work as hard as you can, always hustle every day, but you need to have those nights or those mornings that are just for you.
Love it. Good advice. Okay. So Raegan, how do people, if they want to refer to you or connect with you, how would they do that?
So you guys can reach out to me on Instagram. It's _Raegan Lee, and I spell my name kind of funny. Most people don't spell their name Raegan like this, but it's RAEGAN and then LEE. And you can connect with me on there. And on my Instagram, I have links to my, you know, phone number, my email, my other social media accounts. And you guys can also follow my podcast, The Realities of Real Estate with Raegan. And I'd love to hear what you guys think about that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on our program. And I look forward to being on yours. I know I'm going to be on yours in a couple weeks here.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks. You too.